Thank you, everyone. And so glad to have you with us once again. Look forward to having Hans step up to the podium, the virtual podium tonight on his home front. And we look forward to having Hans Kliphuis join us. He has 32 years experience as a ballroom dancer teacher. Dance to Perfection is his company, and it's here in Grand Rapids at Alpine and 3 Mile, or 4 Mile it is. He's the CEO of Step Up Youth Productions, a Coptic World Service and Self-Discovery graduate, an AIDS survivor, an empath, a channel for the Federation of Light, Archangel Michael, and as a Palladian starseed. As he is so much of that and more, as he's part of the Coptic family, and we welcome him with his humor, with his light, and with his love as he presents the single thread tonight. Is Hans's topic.
Hi, guys. I think that was, of course, absolutely perfect for where we are in the world, where the world is right now. So the next thing that, if we have time, and please keep me in time or whatever so I don't go over, but if I do, if people want to stay on, they can. So this whole thing today is about the single thread, but it's also kind of looking back and then coming forward. This was something I put 3 pieces together, and so I'm going to read, and they're not very long. These came around 2016, 17, 18. I don't have all the dates on these yet, but I can get them to you if you want them. So it's showing that these things, because we're open as Coptics to vision, to prophecy, to hope, that to look back and see that we've been given a lot of information to bring forward before many more, in some ways, on the planet, which is, I think, very important to acknowledge that kind of like that the prophecies are coming through the Coptics in this area. I guess it's the seeding, the information, and to honor that and to bring that forward, no matter how fearful we are of being, we don't have to be in secrecy anymore. Things are different now than they were, and that to go back and to see that information was sent through the Coptic people and center here in the United States is very important to acknowledge. So that's why I'm going back to read these messages, so in retrospect we can see that they were for the future, okay, for this time right now that we're in. First message from Archangel Michael. Fear not, for God is with you. For many days, months, and years, the darkness has been revealed to humanity. As a collective unified consciousness, we have experienced and witnessed the presence of these forces. The good news is that the battle has been won. More light is now permeating the field of this dimension than ever before in planetary history, and the effects are being felt throughout the entire creation. The process of acclimating and integrating Earth into the realm of light and into heaven's kingdom, because of the shifts of Earth's vibrational field, many more beings from higher dimensions are now incarnating at a record pace. You will still be witnessing pods of dark energies and negative forces, as they are also magnetized to areas where they can still manifest. Their territorial base is becoming smaller and smaller as many more are turning on their lights, and the dark spaces are becoming less available. The controllers and service-to-self entities still believe that the old fear-based consciousness will still survive. So you will see some of their effects, and they will complete their mission and reap their final harvest, for they cannot be supported, for they cannot exist much longer in this dimension. So my main message to you all, my fellow beings of the light, is to focus, focus, focus on peace, love, joy, and most of all, hope. Bam, there he is. Nurture, share, and expand these aspects in one another. Follow your hearts and intuition in all matters. Bring faith into full practice. To all of you precious hosts of the divine, call on me anytime. Love and light, Michael, your protector and messenger. This is the inner body experience, which just tags onto this. This is now a kind of a trinity, which before they were all separate. The mind must be put away so that we can experience the pure presence of our spirit. Because the body only knows one time and can only exist in the now, it offers us, by its nature, the awareness and purity of primal physical experience. It is our looking glass, our chamber of secrets, and a vessel for love and Christ consciousness as our soul enters the physical realm. We are shamans, warriors, lovers, unity in motion, and the language of nature's creation. We are the gifts of God's perfect and unending grace. In nature, there is no block to the voice of the divine creator. Diversity is the essence of the life force, which is manifest in the physical dimension. It reflects back to us beauty, power, unity, balance, and pure imagination. This body has many features, from the largest mountain to the tiniest grain of sand taken on the wind. Each have a part in the completion of the whole. The presence of grace is found here, and now is where she lives. And this is where she always awaits us to join her, to share in the beauty and love of her gifts to us, her Nova Gaians. Here we have the golden opportunity to join in the grand adventure of the physical, mystical, and primordial experience of self. The golden opportunity in the third dimension to become flesh in the realms and vibrations of matter. Old thought patterns, ideas, and beliefs can be like a heavy anchor to the lightness of our beings. Our souls, having decided to have a human experience, have come to the kingdom of the earth plane. Thoughts, therefore, are our own creations, and the pure beingness of the body is the classroom. In it, we learn how to co-create, mostly by trial and error, influence, and example. Some of us who have mostly had positive experience and others negative in the early phases of our existence through other influences such as family, society, religion. Blessed are those who've had many negative experiences early on, because they are here to become PhDs, precious hosts of the divine, and masters, teachers, students, and way showers. Blessed are those who have had mostly positive experience also. They become great healers, helpers, and guides as we all work together towards unity in Christ consciousness and help build God's kingdom on earth using the laws of oneness, attraction, and magnetism. OAM, kind of like OM. That's kind of neat. These are spiritual universal laws. Whether you are aware of them or not, or practice them or not, does not change the truth of their existence. These laws are only a few of the gifts of God as grace stands behind us, teaching and guiding, gently holding our little hands on our pencils. So back to the body of creation. It must exist in the now. It runs many parts of us without our help or even awareness. The currents of grace run through it. It is fairly passive and is generally better if loved by self and others. Even though our small minds, ego, tried to take us on a self-guided tour of fear, lack, and judgment, it is always there as one of our greatest teachers. God said to Moses on Mount Sinai, "In their hearts I will put my laws, and in their minds I will write them, for our minds will be a bridge or a blockade to the Holy Spirit." Primordial fear, which is an aspect of this, the physical realm, has been able to seep a little into soul's vibration, where it has no reference, for it only has its function in manifest reality. This rogue vibration, being in the realm of individuation, self, seeks to enter the God mind, but cannot, because it does not exist. As the backronym so beautifully encodes, fear is false evidence appearing real. So the body, being in the unity of the third dimension in the vibration of the Trinity, is aware of this glitch. It is in the emotional field where we are most sensitive to this faulty programming. So a cleansing is happening on all three levels of humanity. This vibrational light force is coming from the sixth dimension through the fifth and the fourth and into the third to help restore balance to our world. So I guess God is just giving us a little light bath. We are here. We are now in the time of the N-light separation, in and then L-I-T. In the mental and mystical energy fields, and your presence is all that is requested. The shift is universal. The awakening is in motion. We are being shaken a little and rising out of the dark seas of indifference and denial. We are here to anchor the light into the physical dimension. As this becomes more apparent, the shadows in us and the planet will come into light. Do not sweat it. Accept, allow, and surrender. For the intellect and intuition are coming into balance in this plane, and it will help us by placing more emphasis on this, our intuitive feminine side, in our everyday lives. Our multidimensional being has come here to be present during this wonderful time, to learn and grow in consciousness, as well as to be of service to this divine event. As above, so below. Make no mistake, we are many. Trust in the plan. Sorry, guys. Trust in the plan and build your faith. Channel light and express love. Allow light and love to fill any and all dark places, for the quickening is upon us. May the grace and love of our one infinite Creator be with you always. Amen. And the last one, then the next presentation I did, this is all from like 2016, 17, 18, 19. The dates are in Coptic Register. I have the thing. So this is then our third in our message that was sent to us way before all this is started here, and we could see it manifest, right? We're all seeing this manifest. We're here. We're all here. We were waiting for this moment. This is our grand moment to launch. Be still and know that I'm with you. For many decades, this process has been unfolding. Watching our progress, an intergalactic system is here for us. The shift is being felt in all dimensions and realms in the unified sisterhood and brotherhood of light. When the planetary clock hit 12, and you had that in your presentation in 2015, John, which is the sign of the eclipse that here in and on the earth of third dimension, in the realm of the Trinity consciousness and in the plane of duality, the quickening has begun. The seeding in this dimension was initiated more than 2,000 years ago. We, as gardeners of light, know that the harvest is near. As the beautiful plants appear from the darkness of the great mother's womb, all will be awakened to the presence of the light, and many start to bear their fruit in this amazing and powerful time of healing and co-creation, and they're talking about right now. Many are now feeling their own quickening as their true selves are being more integrated into and onto this plane. As more of us are awakened to the embracing of our multidimensional selves, we become mirrors to many involved in the great shift into the unified mind of Christ's consciousness. With love and great patience, we abide with all as our brothers and sisters of the light to stand with you and bear witness to this magnificent unfoldment of our infinite Creator's plan for us all. So be it as above, so below. May the grace and love of our one infinite Creator be with you always. Amen. So this has all been revealed to us and shown to us. So I really do feel that thread of the Essene energy moving through our center, our people. John has held and anchored this for many, many years, waiting for this time. This is the time. So we are the single thread. We have come here and lived our lives up to this point to be responsible. But they've split the words to show me that we're becoming response-able. That means all the experiences of our lives built up to this point were to be truly understanding and compassionate of the human experience at this time in this part of our humanity. We cannot be response-able, we cannot be response-able unless we have true and real mental, physical experience of our entire group, which is humanity at this time in our history. We cannot be above or beyond. We must be in it. We must see with familiar eyes, feel with similar touch, and hear from the same frequencies. Many hats, we will wear many hats, we will wear many clothes and many shoes. So the next part, and I don't know, this is not as connected as I like it to be, but just bear with me. If anybody wants to write some of these down, these are some invocations that I got. So what happened is we were cleaning out the storage, because of course this is all coming into fruition. They were just giving me the pieces, and that warehouse is full of books. And so the first box, and of course we were all there. Oh, this looks good. And we grabbed one and we took it with us, and all of us found something, treasure in there. Well, this was the first one I picked up. And it is written by and channeled by Kliphuis. Kliphuis lives here in the United States in Sedona, Arizona. And he is a channel for many, many masters now. And he is talking about the ark. They're talking about this ark, right? The Sedona Cathedral Rock is directly energetically connected to Luxor, Egypt. This is the New Jerusalem, guys. Okay, and John has known that all along, and Hamid Bey has told him many, many, many times that will come into fruition. We will be leading the world spiritually. So I did take stuff out from this book, and Abraham was the first one to come in. And like I said, you guys plug out if you need to. It's only 6:37. We're good. I can see the clock. Ha. All right. I always have to run with that stopwatch. Okay. So I will read this to you, and again, in honor of the writer and the channel. Some of it is, of course, abbreviated, or I just took sections out as I was guided through this. Okay, so Abraham's checking in. Al-Moira is his god name from where he comes from is Al-Moira. And this may be hitting people, so I have to, what I wrote, I have to say. So many of you may find me too stern, a taskmaster. But if I were to give you a task to master, it would be only in alignment with your higher self, divine plan, and mighty I am presence. So my work with law strikes in your inward parts, and it is why you follow these threads. So the reason I picked that is because he said, look, thread. So I said, okay, I will say it, because I don't like to read other people's material. Back to your own higher, so while you follow those threads back to your own higher self, it is my job to be the example, the king. John is going to love this, and leader, both as Arthur and Akbar. I carried a sword in those embodiments, a sword which represents the sacred word and the cleaving of real from unreal in your consciousness, being and word. As you might have noticed, all the Blu-ray masters at times carry the sword. Archangel Michael, Estrella, and myself, all associated with the sword, the sacred word, and in that is the power of God. In you, the Emmanuel. And when I see that, I see I am, separate man, and then U-E-L. I am man, U-E-L. I am man and angel. The I am presence. The I am presence is one word, I am. It's not separate. And that's where we're coming into as a human collective. My sword Excalibur was drawn from the stone thanks to my friend and colleague Saint Germain as Merlin. We had learned to work together on another planet, time. And my association with Saint Germain and Cthulhu goes back many millions years as you count time. This is the way we're able to work together on the level of administration and hierarchy. All right, so that's that message there. This, I won't go there. These are all notes. This is a message. So this is the message from the Great Wolf Tribe, which is here as part of that energetic field of beings that come from our native land. Release the need to know when and how, and let us give thanks for what has not yet arrived. This is the time of truth, the great reveal, revelation. The gate of grace, many ancient teachers of the great, and the gate of grace, many ancient teachers of the Great Wolf Tribe are here. Threads are all embodied. The 144, this is us, the first wave twin soul ascension pioneers. Again, I will state that again. The threads are all now embodied. The 144,000 that must be embodied to ground light into this planet are now complete and incarnate onto this planet. We invoke the violet flame allowed with Saint Germain. So, and we're going to say this together. They want us to say this together, guys. So are you ready? Okay. Ready? We invoke the violet flame of Saint Germain, or with Saint Germain. Let's say it again. We invoke the violet flame with Saint Germain. We make the Ark of the Covenant of higher and lower selves. We make the Ark of the Covenant of higher and lower selves. And take that with you and personalize it later and say, I. But today they want us as a collective and a group that we were threaded into the tapestry of this new world and heaven on earth and the fifth dimension of caring, helping, caring. We are first wave. We are first wave. We are nearing the end of the grace of the law to allow for the misuse. This is Saint Germain, guys. We are nearing the end time of the grace of the law to allow for the misuse of energy in the four planes of matter. Invoke, invoke, invoke. And I have the invocations that I'll share with you when at the end here. So you might want, you would maybe write them down. The violet flame with Saint Germain daily, even hourly, working up to every moment. At that time when I wrote that, I was on the patio and a hawk flew right by me, which the hawk and native teachings is the messenger. Take it, use it. It is a gift to us. He stands in the sixth dimension, holding the balance for Earth in the threefold flame of the Earth, which is coming. He is in the world of form through the flame, and it is his consciousness that is directing this activity and that which allows his presence with us. His chelas, we are his chelas, Saint Germain, even though he no longer inhabits a third dimensional body. Okay, here's a decree that you can say, we can all say together: I am presence, I am light, I am presence, come inside. Serapis Bay. Sorry, I gotta do glasses on this. And again, they're not. And if you want to find this book or if it's online, go ahead, because I'm just reading sections that they gave me. And this is page 226. As you know, the time has changed drastically since the days when we materialized letters in our own handwriting for Madame Blavatsky and the benefit of those who were skeptics somewhat. We realized, and hierarchy realized then, that that phenomenon was not the way to capture the attention of the people, but to create an environment whereby humanity could relearn the cosmic laws. This is very important, John, because that's the environment that the Coptics have created. It's when you're before the time a little bit, the floodgates are going to open. I just know. This is that school that you have manifest, and all of us have helped manifest, and Hamid Bey came to seed into this land. I'm adding that. To learn cosmic laws and to reactivate in themselves the need to know the truth, both about their own existence and the situation on the planet. This information has not been so cleverly hidden. In fact, it's been quite available all along for those who would seek it out. It does seem amazing to me that so few have actually found the thread, here it is again, and followed it to the information and to the advice that we have given you for so long. Many have come to this table and in this time are gathering to work in the third dimension for the benefit of hierarchy. And for the round table, you did receive the round table yesterday. And this round table is the remnant of my brother Arthur, the one you call El Moira. This copyright is 2004, by the way. Okay. And I am the violet flame from Saint Germain. That's a decree. This next transmission is 2019, September 9. We are being guided to work with and highly advanced Arturian ascension technology. And by the way, this group is called the Ascension Group, the one in Sedona. I feel we're very energetically connected to them. I'm going to go out there and check it out. We're advanced Arturian ascension technology. This communicates specifically to humanity's crystalline DNA with love and the White Wolf tribe. Saint Germain here. That was that one. Okay, we're good there. I have two more guys, and then from this, and there's shortened versions, and then I'm gonna wrap. Okay. 229. Okay. I am El Moira, and I stand in the midst of you as your representative on the blue ray, the will, the power of God. To balance the threefold flame is the highest will. To become the I am presence is the divine plan. I am El Moira. I encourage you to take up Excalibur and cut yourselves free from all that is not the work, from all that is not your higher self and manifestation. Thank you. Here's the decree. I am love. I am light. I am love and light. I am. And the next one is St. Paul the Venetian. So we became those who could visualize out of embodiment, and we evolved once again to those who could visualize while in embodiment. I attained my ascension after Saint Germain, and I was long ready to join him in this work as I had recognized my future assignment would be to hold the office of Mahachohan and work in concert with the Kumaras for planetary ascension, and to spin up this field, the balanced threefold flame of earth, to create the white pillar of light, the pillar of light, a pillar of light around me, pillar of light, a pillar of light around me, pillar of light, I am a pillar of light around me. And Michael, that was very interesting that you talked about the white light today and the dome and the pillar of light, just being in it. So definitely being, so, and to create for planet Earth the spinning Merkaba field that becomes the ascension vehicle. Let me say that again. This is probably the most important line here. And to create for planet Earth the spinning Merkaba field that becomes the ascension vehicle, together with the Bodhisattva, the Yellow Ray, Kuthumi, and Almoira, the Manu himself as the Mahachohan, Saint Germain, and the great divine director holding the high points, we will spin the earth into the next vibrational field. We ask you on earth in embodiment to join us in that thought form and to visualize it happening and to create it yourselves wherever you are on the planet. I am Paul the Venetian. Thank you. So, intergalactic kegger in this one. So bear with me if it's disjointed, guys. This is just how it happened. In conclusion, we are the bridge to the New Jerusalem. We are light weavers. Light from the material plane has been perpetual since 2014. We are able to light weave during sleep state. And if you tend to awaken between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., that's because, in short, you're on a little lunch break. Ritualize light craft in our lives to be fully accountable for your spiritual equilibrium by consciously rising to higher vibrational fields. Nature, laughter, and gratitude are the best things to get you back into that frequency very quickly, and will also help you reboot. And this is a proclamation and announcement that I was asked to give. First, they want everybody to write down, and I wrote mine down, and I will share it to you, your mission of light and spirituality, and meditate on it and find it. Your, mission statement. It's write your mission statement down and be able to say it over and over and over, and you will be guided by your higher self and your guides and all that to exact point. Okay, my mission, Hans Carl Kliphuis on planet Earth. My mission is to help change, process, and replace old, false, and fear-based belief systems on this planet, and help reawaken humanity to its own divinity. Proclamation. The book has been opened. The seal has been broken. Thank you, guys.
You know, can I say something? The title of your talk is the single thread, is it, Hans?
Mm-hmm. We're all one of those 144 single threads.
When you're talking about the thread, does everybody remember when Anita Moorjani wrote her book? And I remember when she gave a lecture on her book. And when she went to the other side, was shown the tapestry of her life.
Yes.
And all the momentous, all the occasions, all the days of her life were a thread. And she saw the tapestry of her life.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the tapestry tonight. And that reminds me that we're all creating a tapestry. And I think collectively, we are a part of a group. And so the energy that we put forth from the Coptic Fellowship is creating like a tapestry also. And a tapestry, what is it? Bears witness, doesn't it? Isn't that what a tapestry? People go to museums and they comment on lovely tapestries they see. So I'm saying, let us create the most beautiful tapestry that we can.
Amen.
Amen.
Anybody else have anything to share? Or this is my favorite part. But we have one
it's
thing.
A universal quilting bee.
Yeah. Well, we have one fun thing. This is the 2014 date. So if we had time, which we do, and it's probably exact, Jordan had something to share with you about how we started our journey. And this is just before I met John. And I just come out, I was very sick. Pardon? So we wanted to share this moment with you because it does include Merlin, definitely. And I asked him to document this. What happened is I said, you know what? We need to go. So we need to go to Florida. And we need to go to this place called Casadega. It was to help with my healing. I had a very bad situation with my skin and everything, and I was not able to work, and things were happening. And I said, okay, we're supposed to get in the car and we're supposed to go to this place. And, of course, the doctors and my mother were like, no. And I said, yes, bye-bye. So it was just part of these things that we had to do to come to this place, I guess. So he would like you to read you this story of our it's very amazing, the visualization. If anybody gets anything from this, that, please say something, because it's very interesting and very visual. Okay, so you want to share that, and then because we have time, we'll wrap then after this.
Hi, can everybody hear me, see me?
Yep.
Yes.
So here we go. March 13th, 2014, in Casadega, Florida, at a location known as Spirit Pond, which at one point used to be a beautiful pond, but at this point that we were there was completely dried up and there was nothing left, no water, and it was just a big sandy bowl of weeds. During a session of Reiki energy healing that I was providing for Hans Kliphuis by source through Jordan Vanderven, a message came to Hans through Jordan, and the vision goes as follows. In a devastated and apparently war-torn landscape resembling a vast desert, 4 armies converged in a dried-up lake bed. In the center of the lake bed stood a lone tree, singular in a pool of crystal-clear water. This tree was not of anything in this realm, for the bark of the tree was made of pure black glass and reflected the landscape all around it. Its roots levitated above the water as though it floated atop like a lily pad, and the foliage of the tree hung around its branches in long strands of the most amazingly brilliant colors and were abundant and lush, creating the look of a vast collection of ribbons or yarn. And as the wind blew through the boughs of the trees, the sounds of tiny chimes or bells filled the void. The army from the west showed itself first. They were aged men with white hair. Their skin was pale and wrinkled and hung from their faces without any of the elasticity of youth. Their eyes were dark and sunken and showed much wisdom, but also much sorrow. They wore flowing black robes, which enveloped their frail, weak bodies, and when the mass of them rode together, their robes formed an aerial view of an enormous sundial. They each rode astride an amazingly old nag horse, black and writhing with sweat and blood. They were most fearsome to behold and yet posed no threat of harm or evil doing. They held knotty dark wooden clubs and cudgels in their equally knotty and twisted hands, which looked as if they would explode to dust if struck against another object. Next, the army of the East appeared, able-bodied young men in full armor. Their armor was made of wood and plants, with cloaks of green leaves which flipped about behind them, and they wore helmets which resembled moss-laden tree stumps. Each carried a staff of beautifully polished hardwood. The staves were adorned with all manner of feathers, antlers, crystals, bones, pieces of coral, and tiny bits of glass which glimmered in the light. This army ran to the central area on foot, and their footsteps echoed through the landscape. Ahead of the army ran a man with thick and unruly red beard, which gnarled about his stern face like tree roots, and in his left hand he carried a flagpole with a lush green wreath of leaves, berries, and flowers mounted to its top. To his right, his consort ran alongside of him, hand in hand, neither more important, but rather equal in every way. She wore a dress made entirely of tiny white flowers. She wore her long blonde hair in a thick braid, which encircled her head like a crown, and tucked into the weave were small clusters of herbs, such as basil, oregano, thyme, marigolds, and baby's breath. Her face was kind but full of earthly wisdom, and she exhibited a certain degree of urgency with a sense of nobility and grace. She carried a small lantern made of crystal, of all kinds, in her right hand, and on the backs of each of the remaining soldiers were shields made of enormous spider webs, each glittering with dewdrops. From the north, an army of maidens, mothers and crones, all women wore snow-white gowns, and around their necks they bore strings of ice-blue beads, from which hung pendants resembling huge, brilliant blue eyes. Their faces were sweet and maternal, with a look of radiant joy. Groups of 2 or 3 of them rode together in silver sleds, pulled by pure white stag deer. From the back of each sled flew a flag of baby blue fabric, embroidered with white swans, deer, and strange, unnatural to this world, bear-like animals. In their hands they carried with them crystal balls and fine, elegantly carved wands. The lot of them had an almost ethereal, fairy-like quality, although individually they looked much like any other earthly mother. In the south, the final army appeared. They were a mixture of all of humanity: men, women, children, elderly, black, white, and all colors in between. They each wore saffron-colored robes akin to the Buddhist monks, with ruby-red shoes the fashion of slippers. They approached the battlefield on horseback, some roan, some brown, some Appaloosa, some gray. They rode at a pace which was ununified and broken, and in their hands they brandished the tools of human trade: pots, pans, hammers, swords, paintbrushes, pencils, brooms, shovels, and all manner of such human tools. And out front of this army, a single boy, astride a cream-colored pony, raised a flag of bright red with the yellow depiction of a feral boar, or a warthog, embroidered on it. The boy was small of frame and average of height for his age, which at best I would guess to be about 10 years old. His hair was dark, and his eyes were brilliant gold. All of these armies seemed to be rushing to this otherworldly tree with great haste and importance, and yet none of them looked as if they were there to fight. Spirit told Jordan to tell Hans to interpret this scene as he sees best fit, and at this point, Hans asked Jordan to move to his feet. Jordan complied with Hans's request and found there a new image. Here Jordan saw the figure of the Merlin, a tall, wise, older man of European descent, with a long white beard and a tattoo of a blue sun disk on his brow in the position of the third eye. He had a kindly, wise eyes and the tiniest smile of welcome. He wore a long blue hooded cloak of linen and carried a long wooden walking stick in his hand. And at the top of the walking stick sat a great horned owl, who looked this way and that, trying to see things from all angles. And at the Merlin's side, a huge gray hound with thick curly hair. The Merlin told Jordan to pass on the message to Hans that even though I am known as a great magician and seer and bringer of prophecy, I am still a bard. And as such, I am bound to the task of telling stories. And in this way, he too must tell his story. in a new way, using his skills and talents to do so. The Merlin then told Jordan if Hans needs to be reminded of his task, all he need do is look and he will find the answers with the blue dog. At that moment, the dog by his side radiated the most beautiful blue light I've ever seen. Also, the forerunners of the armies told Jordan to pass along the message to Hans to follow the images or the signs from the sky to give him direction in whichever way he needed to turn. So that was our little message from Cassadaga. And I will pass that over to Hans so he can continue this message.
Well, these Coptics, then that next year, I think I started working with the Coptics. And these are the stories that are coming through, I guess. That's part of the mission. I know I'd work with somebody that's so closely related to Merlin, John. And other people, all the people I've run into there on here, I finally felt like I was not a fish out of water. So that's why the Coptic Center is so important to me. I don't know if anybody has any images or anything they want to share with that, but I think it's still a work in progress. That's it.
How soon were you healed after that visit to Florida?
About a month later.
Within about a month or two.
Good.
Yeah, I was.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story. Wow.
It's powerful.
It is.
We've got many more since then, so it'll be fun to do them as we have these moments with you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's not over yet. It's many more adventures for all of us. That Egypt trip was amazing in itself. That adventure that we were on, the 13, and things are just being set in motion. I think we arced that. We were that thread, that arc of the New Jerusalem, which is here in America, to that ancient vortex and that land in Luxor. And remember, John, it was the supermoon that night. Remember that? Remember that? We are we are part of the arc. We are the threads. The arc is not a thing. And I think you've always seen it and been trying to communicate that to the world. I think I'm really feeling that the sun is going to rise very strongly now, more and more. That sun, spiritual unity of nations. I feel very hopeful.
When you guys were in Egypt on November 11th, and you had the supermoon that night, I was at the Coptic Center with Renee Whitlow and a bunch of others with the kids. We had the kids program.
Oh, perfect.
That night. And it was very cold. It got down to 25 degrees. So very, very cold here that night.
May I share a quick vision I had that ties into what you're talking about?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always.
When Alan and I had an opportunity to go to Hawaii, there was one afternoon where just Alan and I and this other gentleman who was in the group we went down to a totally empty beach on the Big Island, and it was all that volcanic rock. In other words, the sand was black from the volcanic rock, and there were huge, well, what do you call those, crags or things along the side, so that the surf was just whooshing up against these, and it was coming in and going out, and I stood on that beach just kind of being in awe and just sort of saying how grateful I was that I got to be there and have that experience. And for a brief moment, I thought that the clouds sort of opened And I just had this image, vision, sense of understanding that I knew what it meant that we were all one. For a brief moment, I totally understood it. It was almost as if God was letting me know, this is the goal. This is the feeling, is to understand that everyone is one and that we're all working for this together.
Mm-hmm.
And it went away. It was it was sort of like my humanness came back, and the feeling went away, but I understood, and that is the place I go to so often in my meditation.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, it gives us a task, and the threads of us building this together.
And, so I think, or I know by playing these games, Spirit, is that to keep yourself and keep building yourself in that higher frequency, just your presence in the area, in the room, all the threads are surgically placed. We are all surgically placed exactly where we need to be by the higher plan and the higher realms. We are. I think if we really knew how protected and guided and all the beings of higher frequency that are around us helping us, we would be so humbled. And so never think you're alone is the biggest thing, guys. Always know that you have so many with you, and that the dark works its stuff, and that's their job. But their time is they hear that big clock, and they're no longer very shortly going to be even allowed to be here. They cannot stay in that frequency. They cannot abide in the frequency that we are building on this planet. And so every single one of us has something that is part of this, and that is important. And you will be guided and led once you ask. Like John says all the time, don't ask, don't tell. That means you have to ask, and a weak asking will get you a weak answer. With great hope and faith, we must get our mission statements all individually and as a collective.
I like that.
This has been a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Sure it has.
Thank you.
I've missed all of you.
Thank you. Great job.
Me too.
I can feel the energy has definitely expanded since you've spoken with us. And I wanted to mention the thread. There's a song in Unity called Weave. Linda, do you know that? Weave?
Yes.
Weave us together in unity and in love. And I feel like that thread, we are being woven. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Me too.
Yeah, this has been a very special evening. Truly.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very
so
much
much.
so.
Thanks for asking me, John.
No, it was fantastic.
Thank you, Hans.